false ego, mundane intelligence, material intelligence. That's even more subtle than the ether and the air, manomaya kosha. Then vijnanamaya kosha, that's Brahman realization. But in the spiritual sky where we came from, we didn't have that as our constant consciousness. That's still part of the covering having come down. Vijnanamaya kosha. That's the goal of realization of the Mayavadis, who Prabhupada constantly confronted in his writings, in his lectures, in his morning walks, in his room conversations. He constantly confronted the Mayavadis. So Prabhupada set the standard. He was very quote-unquote negative. He was very quote-unquote confrontational, but he set the standard.
That's great. That's great. I still don't know if I'm recording this properly, so I don't know if we got the right lighting.
Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchite. You know that one?
What does it mean?
It means whether you succeed or fail. Samatvam, sama. Keep the same equanimity of mind.
Yeah.
Because the endeavor is to please, you're going to get the result that matters anyway. Now, if you get the result on the material plane, well, all well and good, that's siddha. But if the material plane fails you because you're still authorizing what you're doing and still pleasing, then it doesn't matter. Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchite. That's the yoga means. You got to have that samatvam, sama.
Let me pursue this a little bit more. You're talking about how Prabhupada was confronting the Mayavadis. Let's explore the subtleties of this a bit, because on the surface, what devotees are thinking, in all the different branches, from the Neo-Gaudiya Mata to the Ritviks to the ISKCON fanatics, everyone is thinking, I'm not a Mayavadi. I accept Krishna. I accept the personality of Godhead. The Mayavadis are saying it's all one.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not Mayavadis.
Mm-hmm.
So Prabhupada was a bit kind of heavy-handed with the whole thing because, we accept. But obviously Prabhupada was making a much deeper point.
Well, first of all, Mayavad means conclusion. Maya means conclusion of Maya, but in what context? The Mayavadis say that there's a plane where Radha Krishna is, which is very, very subtle and very high and very advanced. But actual spiritual life is beyond that plane. So they say that plane where Radha and Krishna are enjoying their pastimes is still Maya, but it's very, very high Maya. Very, very subtle high Maya. But the absolute truth is Vishnu beyond that, and then beyond Vishnu, which is still form, is Brahman. So they have this to Vishnu to Brahman. So that's classic Sankaracharya Mayavad. So I will agree with the statement that you just made, that if the comebacker is that we're not Mayavadis, it's classic Mayavadis, no, of course not. But what is the essence of Mayavad? That does need to be confronted. Because this idea that you can minimize Radha and Krishna, which is light years away beyond even that concept from how fallen this position is. But Radha Krishna position, the Leela pastimes of the spiritual sky, and then Vishnu, Mahavishnu, supposedly being above that, just as Mahavishnu lying in causal ocean with the pastimes of emanating the universes, etc. And then the Brahman being the ultimate, and then you are Brahman. So what is underlying the whole thing of the Mayavad? The essence of Mayavad is you are Brahman. Then if this Radha Krishna is not God, and Mahavishnu, although Radha Krishna is God, but God on that plane, and then Mahavishnu, God on that plane, and then Brahman, the real God, which, by the way, you are Brahman. So you go to this is the real goal. So that essential idea that I am God ultimately, but I'm right now covered by ignorance, that is present. That's present in sahajiyasm. That's present in human enjoyment. That's present throughout the whole covering. That's the reason we came down. The idea of misusing our independence entered, and we acted on it. We acted on it.
So you said it's present in sahajiyism, and you also said that sahajiyism has infiltrated the Krishna conscious movement.
Big time.
Maybe you can explain those two things. One, how has sahajiyism infiltrated the Krishna conscious movement, and how is sahajiyism a form of I am God?
Okay. Well, I am God, the two psychological divisions of ahankar are I am the enjoyer and I am the doer. So right there, I am God is involved in that. Not I am the servant. Ahankar is not I am the servant.
Mm.
Ahankar is I am the enjoyer, I am the doer. One of the two psychological divisions. Now, sahajiyas. This needs to be understood much better than it currently is understood. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has stated clearly the sahajiya groups, but when he stated them, they were the classic sahajiyas of the time. So those were the 13 divisions of sahajiyism. So the sahajiyism that's going on now, some of those, owls, bowels, undoubtedly still go on. But Darvesh, for example, with Darvesh. Darvesh, Prabhupada called the hippies Darvesh. Now, were the hippies the classic Darvesh? Of course not. They didn't even know about Darvesh. I would say that if you took 100 hippies arbitrarily any time in the late 60s, early 70s and said, what's Darvesh? None of them would know. They might say whirling dervish or something, but they don't know what Darvesh is. And there's a very good possibility that Darvesh has something to do with whirling dervish too. But whether or not that's the case, Prabhupada said Darvesh is the hippies. So that means, what were the hippies? Classic Darvesh? Definitely not. But that whatever is the essence of Darvesh came on through and was part of hippie, which Prabhupada called the hippie religion. He called it the hippie religion more than once. Now, what does that mean? We all got a taste when we were part of that hippie movement and religion. There's some taste coming there. It was like a religion. Not completely, but there's parallels. You had the people you worshipped. The point is that the Darveshas were one of the 13 Sahajiya groups. And then there were other ones. And all these 13 have certain things in common, but mostly they do not have too much in common, except that they are deviations off of Vaishnavism, deviations off the Vedic teachings. They're not authorized by any of the 20 Dharma Shastras, and they're not Vaishnava. They're a spin-off that's unauthorized, all 13 of them. But then there's 13, so that means there's 13 divisions of them. And so I've already spoken and tried to clarify what is the common thread amongst the deviation. But what is the differences then needs to be understood. But rather than going to all at 13, let's apply to what's going on now, because that's what's most important. So the I am God concept is certainly present in the Sahajiyas. I am the enjoyer. I am the doer in this sense. One may say, well, you don't do anything. All right, that's fine. You don't do anything. Perhaps a lot of Sahajiyas think like that. I don't do anything. Because that's stated very clearly in the Gita that you can't, in the material world, because of the laws of the material world, the laws, the svabhava, the laws of your own nature, and the laws of the modes of nature, and the laws of how things work, everything is carried on through all these millions of laws. So you think you do, but you never do, because you're in a body that's controlled by laws. You put out a desire, and even desire is a subtle form of conditioning. But we don't want to get off the track here. The point is that the I am the doer, I am the enjoyer consciousness is present in all deviation from Vedic literature. All deviation from the Vedic truth, from the Vedic process, is the I am the enjoyer, I am the doer. And the essence of the Vedas, the essence of the Vedic process, the Vedic knowledge, the Vedic teachings, the essence is the Vaishnava teachings, the Vaishnava process. Being a bona fide Krishna conscious person, Krishna consciousness is Vaishnava. Vaishnava comes from Vishnu. Vishnu is a form that emanates from Krishna, expands from Krishna.